Welcome back to Lamp Oil Stock, an Israelite channel where we look at issues from an Israelite perspective. And if you don't mind, take a moment and subscribe or give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you happen to be out there. Thank you so very
Or
much.
dislike. You forgot the dislike. Go ahead.
Fair enough. But thank you so very much for taking a time to listen to us today. So what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about polygyny or polygamy,
Okay.
and if it's something that should be done. Because someone came onto our Facebook page and they left a little video,
Right.
and gave an example of how the Most High condones polygamy
Okay.
or allows it. And it's true that there is no law that says that you can't have multiple wives. But what most people don't talk about is if you should have multiple wives.
Right.
Because it appears that from the beginning it wasn't something that the Most High had planned for his people. However, he did allow it to happen for different reasons, and you can guess that because it's a man-driven world, that women without a man, especially back then, could not provide for themselves. So if you had a woman whose father is dead and she's unmarried, how does she eat? What protects her from the evil people out there? So it was beneficial for women to have to maybe marry a man who already had a wife, so that they could fall under the protection of that man.
Okay. So let's look at some Israelite relationships off the bat. Okay.
Well, first I want to talk about Genesis. In Genesis 2,
Right.
it says, Genesis 2 verse 24 says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." So in the very beginning, it tells you that a man should leave his family and cleave unto his wife. That is singular, not plural, and that they will become one flesh. So even though he allowed multiple wives, it's not the ideal that he had set up from the beginning.
Right. Now, we have a picture of the ideal.
Right.
Okay. So the very first relationship, Adam and Eve's relationship.
Right.
It's one man and one woman.
Exactly.
Now, we're talking about the moment of creation here. God could have very easily made him multiple wives.
Right. But he didn't, because his original intention was for it to be one man and one woman. Of course, when he created them, the world was perfect.
Right.
There was no sin, and so there was no need for there to be more than that. But of course, later we know that sin comes in, and now you have men and women in this man-driven world where women don't have a lot of power, and people are evil and wicked, and they're doing all types of evil, crazy things, which leads God to destroying the earth.
Right. Because it does say that man is marrying and giving into marriage during the time of Noah.
Right.
But Noah is saved by the Most High. Right. And we get a picture of Noah's family.
Right. But it also talks about how in the times of Noah, people were having multiple wives,
Right.
and the wives were taking stuff in order to have abortions, so that they wouldn't lose their figure, because their husbands wouldn't want them after they got pregnant and lost their figure.
Now, that's in the book of Jasher.
Okay.
It's about chapter 5 in the book of Jasher. Spends quite a bit of time outlining what happened before the flood. But let me kind of go back to Noah for just a second here.
Okay.
Okay, so Noah is saved by the Most High, considered to be perfect at the time.
Right.
And we have a vision of his family.
Uh-huh.
Noah has one wife.
Right.
And he has 3 children.
Right.
And they each have one wife.
One wife. Right.
He could have very easily gotten him multiple, but actually in the book of Jasher it outlines and says to Noah, you will go pick one wife for each of your 3 children.
Right. And since he was getting ready to destroy the world, if multiple wives was his thought, or was his thought of what was good, then why wouldn't he have told Noah to pick up an extra couple of wives, or his sons to pick up an extra couple of wives, so that they could quickly repopulate the earth?
Right. Okay, so let's go to so we go through the flood, right? We're now on the other side.
Okay.
What is the next big relationship?
We have Abraham.
Okay, so let me do Abraham. Okay, so Abraham is married to Sarai.
Right.
Okay, and that's his only wife, right?
Correct.
But she's barren.
Uh-huh.
And not able to have children, and she feels a certain way about this.
Right. So she decides to offer her husband her maidservant.
Haggai, right?
So that he can have a child.
Right.
Because she feels bad that she hasn't been able to give him one. And so then he takes on a minor wife, because she does get pregnant and give him a child. And all hell breaks loose in that house.
Right. That is an absolute mess. Because what ends up happening is Abraham, because of Sarai's feelings about the situation, has to put Hagar and Ishmael out, and so that he can focus on raising Isaac at the time.
Right. And, of course, get her not to be so mad.
Right. She is highly upset at this point. Okay, so we have Isaac at this point, right? Isaac goes off and meets Rebecca. Is sent off to meet Rebecca, and he ends up marrying her. Mm-hmm. Now, does Isaac have multiple wives?
No.
All right, and there's no mentioning. There's nothing about Isaac seeking, looking for. There is no multiple wives involved.
Right, right.
Okay. Now, Isaac and Rebecca have children.
Right. And then Jacob.
Right.
And Esau come. Esau, well, he's evil from jump, and he gathers multiple wives. But Jacob, he ends up with 2 wives, but it was through deceit and trickery that he ended up with 2 wives, because he only wanted one.
Right.
And even though he only wanted one, he ended up with 2, and it tells you that he loved one and he didn't love the other one. So there was a lot of pain and strife going on in their household as well. You had the 2 women fighting over who can have the most kids by him.
Right.
They were always trying to fight for his love and affection. And so it was a mess. Was it legal according to the law? Yes. But was it beneficial to him? In the fact of having multiple children, yes, but as far as daily life, no, it had to have been extremely hard.
Right, and you can
living
read
in that situation,
and you can read all about it in the Bible. In Genesis, it goes through the struggles that Jacob and Rebecca and Leah all have to go through, dealing with everything that's going on, and the handmaids, and it's a nightmare. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare.
So again, it's not whether or not you can have multiple wives. It's more on the line of should you. Now, you have the kings. They had multiple wives, but a lot of that was just securing allegiances, making sure that staying away from war, getting friends to help you. So I don't really count that as much, because you do what you got to do.
Yeah, but now I will bring this up. The 2 big kings, which are almost always cited, are King David and King Solomon. Right. Right. So King David does have multiple wives.
Right, and he falls into lust,
Right.
and he is punished because of it.
Absolutely.
So he's punished severely because he took a wife out of lust and not out of the fact that he was a king and this is what he needed to be doing in order to serve his people.
Right. Now, our next person is King Solomon.
Right.
His son. And it does state that King Solomon had like 800 wives, 300 concubines, and he had some serious problems.
Right. And he ended up allowing his wives, because they came from multiple kingdoms, of course, doing the alliance thing, he ended up allowing his wives to pull his heart away from the Most High.
Right.
And by the way, this is one of the reasons why the Most High seems to be so strict on women, is because women control the hearts of their husbands. And if a woman is out of pocket, she can drive that man to do all types of crazy things. Or if she is too submissive, she can allow that man to get away with the evil things that are all up in his heart. So a woman's job or her position is very delicate. She
Right.
has to keep this balance so that the household keeps that balance, because she also raises the children, and whatever she's teaching them is what they're going to go off and do.
Right. Absolutely. Now, those are some of the major relationships throughout the Bible, throughout the Old Testament. Those are some of the major relationships. Now, if we take a look at, I'd like to bring up a verse real quick.
Okay.
Let's take a look over in Proverbs.
Okay.
All right. So in Proverbs 18 and 22, whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtain a favor of the Lord. Now, the reason I want to bring up this verse is we have one of our friendly letters, A. It doesn't say he who findeth multiple wives. It doesn't say he who have a wife and get more. It doesn't say, hey, you get some favor and then you'll get even more favor if. That's not how this verse is written. It does not talk. It doesn't speak that way. Everywhere it seems when we talk about... Now, wait. I do also want to bring this up. There is, in Deuteronomy, it does talk about having multiple wives for a part. Okay? Where it says if a person is married and that person dies, the husband dies, then the brother should marry that wife. But if you'll notice, that is as you were saying just a moment ago, that's a financial obligation to help take care of this wife. It is not a matter of lust, a matter of wanting. It is a matter of necessity.
Right.
To take over for this wife. So, those are a couple of the verses I really wanted to bring up. Now,
I don't like to talk about the subject of polygamy, not because I shy away from it. It's just that it seems that most of the time when you're dealing with the subject, what you're really dealing with is men who are filled with lust, who want or see something and they want their cake and eat it too. Oh, look at all of these women. I can have them and I can do all of these things with it. But my question is, then what? You see bad examples of it. And I know that there has to be some good examples of it, but mostly you see bad examples of it. And these women, I feel bad for the women, because if you have a husband today and you're young and you're fertile and he gets you and your 4 other wives pregnant and y'all are great, what happens in 10 years? when your body has lost its shape and your hair is starting to turn gray? What stops him from just tossing you to the side and going out and grabbing 5 more younger, more beautiful wives than you? What does that? And what keeps him keeping you? Why not just, you have a lot of husbands say, oh, well, you just get rid of her, get rid of divorce. Because everybody wants to take the Bible and pick and choose which verses they want to do and use to give an example of something to satisfy their own evil lust, their own evil hearts. And I don't like doing this particular broadcast because I feel like I'm dropping just a lot of verses, or look here at this, God said this, look here at that, God said that. But the Bible says line upon line, precept upon precept, and that he is found in the entirety of the book.
Right.
So you can't just take a verse and say, well, this is it, because it is never it. There's always something more. And if you're not really seeking God in the entirety of the book, you ain't seeking him. That's all I got to say about that. I'm going to drop my mic.
You can't drop your mic.
Oh,
I mean, you're literally not holding it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But if I was, damn it.
Okay, listen, I want to put a punctuation on this, and then I can be done with it.
Okay.
Our channel is dedicated to trying to get people to read the Word themselves, to go through and look through the Bible and read it themselves. That is the point. That's why we do these videos. And we try to highlight, get people thinking about what it means to be an Israelite. Not just in word, but what it means to actually live it. And on this subject, yes, the law says you could, but you should really be thinking, should I? That seems to be that's the whole point. And everywhere it seems up there, it seems not to have worked out well. And in all reality, many of us have enough trouble trying to keep one together. I cannot imagine trying to keep multiple.
Speak your truth. Speak it.
I cannot imagine trying to keep multiple. So anyway, thank you all once again for taking a moment to go through some Bible verses with us. We found a lot more Bible verses that go with this particular subject, but thank you all so very much for taking the time out to listen to what we have to say. Do you have anything else?
Kwam Yasharala.
Bye.